Many clients, when they first come to meet with us, are operating under the misconception that because Texas is a community property state, that means that all the community property that the parties own is to be divided 50-50. In fact, the Texas Family Code provides not that there's a 50-50 division of community assets, but that the trial court will divide the estate in a manner that is, quote, just and right, unquote. Just and right in some cases can mean a 50-50 division of assets, and in some cases it can mean a disproportionate division of assets, whereby one spouse gets a greater share of the estate than the other spouse. Trial courts have a great deal of discretion in determining which spouse should get a disproportionate division, what factors should be included in there, and how disproportionate the division should be. The most common issues that we see in terms of being taken into account by a trial court in deciding whether a disproportionate division is appropriate is the earning capacity of a spouse, whether one spouse has significant separate property that they're going to be awarded, and whether that there is some sort of fault in the breakup of the marriage. The trial courts have a great deal of discretion in terms of how they choose to allocate the assets, but generally what they will look at is to try to divide the estate in a way that it makes the most sense for both parties. For example, if you have one spouse who is a high wage earner while the other spouse has been a stay-at-home parent, courts will oftentimes give more of the liquid assets that are more easily able to be spent on living expenses to the non-employee spouse, while the employee spouse may get more of the retirement or non-liquid assets. Courts generally will try to, where possible, divide assets in a way such that each person is getting certain buckets of assets, getting as much as possible of one asset or another, so that you're avoiding the necessity of having to split many different assets in a way that can be very difficult and unwieldy to untangle. And when it comes to real property or businesses, the court will generally take into account who needs, for example, the real property. If there are children involved and it's a marital residence, the courts will generally try to make sure that the parent who is the primary caretaker of the children continues to stay in the residence where possible with the children. And in the case of a business, if it's if one spouse is primarily in control of the business or has been running that business throughout the marriage, they generally will award that business to that spouse and award other assets to the other spouse in order to make an equitable division.